everyone, and welcome back to the Give 'em Heck podcast. I'm Brian. This is your host, Penny. We're very happy to be back. I know you have some announcements to make, but I just want to make a small one myself that we apologize that our upload schedule is a little all over the place right now. Obviously, with it being summer,
We're busy.
we're busy, and we got friends coming over. We got
Family.
of course, our jobs.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on, but we're going to continue to keep you guys posted on what's going on. So we thank you for sticking with us and also enjoying our content. We'll try to upload, but just
Bear with us.
bear with us. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a shame we can't make this a full-time thing.
Maybe
But
someday.
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
But anyway, now you can go.
Can
I give you my permission.
Really? Yeah. Okay. Like I need it.
Right?
So the announcements that I want to give is like Brian was saying, with summer, it is a little bit more difficult because in this particular state, the thing is summers are valuable. We'll say it that way, because in the winter you're not going anywhere. So the summer is a lot of time where we visit family. Family comes and visits us. We have a lot that we can do in the summer that we can't do in the winter. But with that being said, we will not be having a podcast next weekend because of the 4th of July. And then the weekend after that, we will not be having a podcast again because of visiting family. So it'll be the next couple of weeks. And then we should be back on track after that.
Yeah.
We'll see with everything else how things are going. But like Brian said, we'll keep you posted.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep you guys in the loop, and we're not stopping.
No.
It's just
it's life.
Life.
Yeah.
So.
All right, I'm going to read our disclaimer.
All right, let's
as
get right
I
into
always
it.
do. All right, we are not doctors, psychologists, or counselors. We are not given any medical or psychological advice. We are just simply here to discuss real life situations, to give hope, encouragement, and instill change. So, Brian, in our last episode, which would have been 41, we talked about miracles in the timing.
Yep, I remember.
Yeah. So what do you think of when I say miracles in the timing?
I can't remember what I said. But I would say I would define it, and I guess I'm just going off of my own idea of what I perceive as a miracle, is it's kind of just letting things play out.
Yeah.
Like, I can't force miracles, and of course, whether or not you believe in miracles yourself personally, that's your prerogative. But I don't go looking for miracles under every rock. If they happen, great.
Yeah.
But I don't expect them, and I know I don't deserve them.
Well, and I think too, again, like you said, Brian, it's also your definition of a miracle.
Yeah.
Because we can all sit here and say we need a miracle, but what I define as a miracle that I need in my life, if that same situation was happening in your life, you might not define it as a miracle. It just might be defined as something you need, right? But not really a miracle. But again, I think it's all based off of timing.
Well, not even just that. I define, and I said this in the last couple of episodes we did, but I define miracles as something that cannot be explained by natural means. And I gave some descriptors of what that would classify as situation by situation, but the crux of it is the smallest thing can be a miracle, but I guess it kind of just depends on like you said, kind of like what you personally define, what you personally need. I just I don't think miracles are under every rock.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. I just think whatever that need is that needs to be met is something that it's just based off of timing.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean every miracle that you need in your life is going to turn out the way you want it to, or you hope it will, or you wish it will? It doesn't. And, it is what it is, I guess.
Well, and I think too, in this, obviously, this is leaning still a little bit into the spiritual. So if you don't personally believe that, bear with us. We'll get back on it here. But I think a lot of times I see people who are spiritual rely on miracles a little too much. And that's why I said earlier, I don't think I'm owed.
Yeah.
If they happen, great. I'm thankful for it, but I don't expect it, and I don't expect it, and I don't deserve it.
And I think that's a good way to think, Brian, because if it doesn't happen the way you wish it would, or it doesn't happen the way you wanted it to, I've heard you say then you don't have anybody to blame. But the other thing is this is maybe it happened the way it was supposed to.
Well, isn't
And
that
that's all it comes down to.
yeah, and isn't that that's what I believe anyway,
Right.
is that everything happens exactly the way it's supposed to
Mm-hmm.
for a variety of different reasons.
Right.
And I don't it kind of goes into that idea of, like you said, the idea that if you expect miracles to happen, or you essentially pray for a miracle, and a miracle doesn't happen to you, but it happens to somebody else, then to me that looks like favoritism.
Right.
And probably from somebody else looking from the outside in. Why does a miracle happen to you but not to me?
Right.
Well, how do you define what a miracle is in that regard?
Well,
I would say it was, and this goes into my belief system, but it just like it was going to happen regardless. Like
Right. Planned.
it was already planned out.
Right.
And I can't prove that, but nobody can disprove it either.
Right.
So it's just the idea of like life. To me, I live one day at a time, one moment at a time. If something happens that I cannot explain as a miracle,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of whether I asked for it or not, and it happens anyway, because that has happened.
Yeah.
I don't really ask for much in a spiritual sense. So for something miraculous to happen, I'm thankful for it, but I don't expect it.
And I think that's a good perspective to have, Brian, because like you said, what if that same miracle that I'm looking for, that you're looking for, but it works for you and it doesn't for me? So how do I handle that? Like that can cause a lot of anger, disbelief.
Mm-hmm.
It can really
Resentment.
Yeah, it can really. So like you said, who do you define who gets the miracle and who doesn't?
That's why I don't think miracles are dependent on whether or not you ask for them. I think they were there already. It was already set in stone.
It
And of
was
course,
just the way it was supposed to be.
yeah. And like I said, that goes into my belief system. We have an episode that we do talk about our belief systems. I can't remember what
Oh, I
episode it
can't
was,
remember. That was a while ago.
but we do have an episode talking about that if you're interested in seeing what our perspectives are. But yeah.
Yeah. So one of the quotes that I had read last week, I'm going to read again before we go into tonight's episode, that it went with the timing issue, and it was called "Trust the Timing." So one of the hardest things for the human mind to do is simply wait. We want answers now. We want movement now. We want to know that the path we're on is leading somewhere meaningful. But life doesn't unfold according to our impatience. It unfolds according to timing, alignment, and readiness. There have been many moments in my life where I pushed, forced, and worried about outcomes. I believe that if I just thought about something enough or worked hard enough, it would immediately manifest the way I imagined. What I've come to realize is that many of the most important things in life cannot be rushed. The right opportunities, the right people, the right doors. They appear when the moment is ready, not when our mind demands it. Sometimes the greatest act of trust is simply allowing life to breathe, letting go of the constant need to control every outcome and understand that what is meant for you has a way of finding you. This doesn't mean doing nothing. It means continuing to walk forward with faith while releasing the anxiety about how or when things will arrive. If something truly belongs in your life, if it is part of the path you are meant to walk, it will come. Your job is to simply to keep becoming the person you're ready to receive it.
Mm,
Pretty much wraps it up, doesn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. So in that particular quote, Brian, it talks about the timing part of the so-called miracle. So in tonight's podcast, I've titled it "The Miracle of Becoming You."
Mm. It kind of goes along with the TikTok we did tonight a little
It
bit.
does, doesn't it?
Mm.
Yeah.
Very
I
little, but it
I don't
does.
I don't know how that works. It just those things happen.
I do want to add one more quick thing, and then we'll move on. Like it's related to this, but um, a person had asked me if I believed in karma, and really in depth karma. Like they believe that in the life that you're currently living, if you have a bad life, that you are experiencing karma from your past life. I personally do not believe that.
I don't either.
And I can explain why, but I want you to know that you are not the person that the world wants you to be. You're not the person that your friends might want you to be. You're not the person that you might not even think you are. You're better than that. And you don't have to feel that you need to atone for the mistakes of things that you did in this life. And if you believe in past karma in the sense of your past life, I want you to think about how miserable of an existence that is. To know that there's nothing you can do to atone for the mistakes that you made in the past. That's a miserable existence.
Mm.
I don't want you to live like that. I don't want you to think that the universe is coming back onto you if you're going through a hard time and thinking that, well, I'm not getting any miracles or I'm not having a lot of good things happen to me. This must be karma. That attitude does not have to be you. It doesn't have to define who you are. That is your choice.
Mm-hmm.
You can choose to make bad situations as good as they can be and use those experiences to uplift and encourage others. So I encourage you to examine yourself in that way. Don't give up. Don't lose hope. Because as long as your lungs draw breath, a miracle could be waiting right around the corner for you.
Yeah. And we've said that before. Sometimes hope is all you have.
Sometimes it's all you need.
Okay. I like though what you said. So what do you think of, Brian, when I say the miracle of becoming you?
Kind of going along with what I just said, realizing who you are. Because I believe personally that, and I've said this before, that human life itself is a miracle. And I believe that when a person comes to that place of realization of who they are as an individual and what they could become,
Mm.
that in and of itself is a miracle.
Wow. That's good. So we've said before, Brian, that the miracle is not the event. The miracle is who you become in the process. So we've talked about in our last podcast about letting go, finding balance, trusting the timing, and who you become in the process. That it is not only what makes the miracle, but is the miracle. Now, I've heard you say, well, we've both said this before, Brian, that miracles have nothing to do with prayer or faith. Do you want to kind of elaborate on that a little bit, or?
Well, I guess to provide context, I personally believe that because, and again, this is spiritual, so bear with us. But I believe personally that life is already preordained,
Mm-hmm.
that it's already set in stone, and that God sees your life from the beginning of it to the end of it. And I believe that all the things that you will experience in your life, whether you ask for them or not, are already going to happen. In the sense of, not in the sense of, I'm just going to give up. it's more of like no matter how bad things get for me, that I'm taken care of.
Um,
And
okay.
things might not always go the way you want them to, and bad things, of course, happen. But that also goes along with what I've said before, is that nobody said life would be easy,
Right.
and not even God himself said that. So
Right.
the idea that people feel that when their lives are going bad, the whole why me situation. Well, what you have to understand is there's people going through much worse than you.
Right.
And I don't say that in the sense of get off your high horse. I well, I guess I kind of do to some people, but um, I think like people just have to be a little bit more self-aware in that sense of like, yeah, things suck right now,
Mm-hmm.
but there's somebody out there that I know is far worse than I am.
Right.
It's like I can give this little mini example. Um, I watched a reel, or not a reel, a video on TikTok. Reel. I'm not Instagram. Um, of some woman swimming in her pool, and she lost her ring, and she lost her mind. And some of you may have seen this video. Like she was crying, she was upset, and one of her friends said exactly what I like, not exactly what I was thinking, but kind of going along with what I just said, that somebody's going through much worse than you. One of her friends was watching her freaking out that she lost her ring, and she goes, there's people starving right now, right? And I mean, it's
Right.
true.
I understand.
You get it. It's like sometimes you got to pick and choose what our priorities are.
Mhm.
And people lose sight of that because they're so fixated on themselves that they don't realize that they have so much around them that I would consider miracles to an extent.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I don't think the fact that we have a roof over our head is a miracle, but it's definitely something to be thankful for.
Right. A blessing.
Yeah. So,
Okay. So, because we talked about that miracles have nothing to do with prayer or faith, we've also said, and we've mentioned this old saying that what doesn't kill you will make you stronger. So, this is where I'm going with this. So, during the battle, we go through so many emotions. And while you're going through it, we question everything. Sometimes we feel like I need to get to my notes here, like we're being punished. Isn't that funny how we talked about that earlier?
mm-hmm.
Trying to understand why it has all had to happen the way it did. So I'm asking you that for this, Brian. So what does, I back up a little bit. So when you're going through your trial, your battle, your tribulation, okay,
Yeah.
and you ask yourself all of these questions and you feel maybe like you're being punished. So what does the process of becoming the miracle look like to you? Like you becoming the miracle, how does that process look? When you're going through the battle, you're changing, right? So,
Sometimes when I'm going through a hard time, and I will admit, I talk to myself on this show as much as I talk to you guys, but I oftentimes will reflect on myself in certain situations depending on the situation. Um, like financial, you know, if I find myself in a little bit of a financial bind, I self reflect. I go, what can I do to change this? Or what can I do to better myself? And it's not easy.
it isn't.
And but I think that that's a big part of it, is that when you're in the midst of the storm, sometimes tying things down can really help you realize what you have,
Mm.
what your resources are, and what value you have in the things around you, if that makes sense.
Yes,
It's more of like I'm going through a bad time right now. What can I do to maybe make it rain a little less hard?
right. So it's kind of like stepping back from the situation and maybe analyzing it from a different perspective. It doesn't mean you're going to eliminate the storm altogether,
Right.
but and that's hard to do
Yeah.
because when you're going through it, and everybody's storm can be categorized as something different and on different levels, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're going through it, it's Because first you're trying to wrap your head around the situation, and now you're trying to think of, well, how do I fix it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think what you're saying is you just sometimes have to back off or back away from that situation and kind of analyze it.
Yeah. The analogy I can use is like if you're in the middle of a rainstorm and you put up an umbrella. It doesn't stop the storm,
Mm-hmm.
but it makes it easier to bear.
Right.
It's like that. Putting yourself in a comfortable position to where you can regroup, reflect, and maybe even learn something out of it.
Yeah.
Because I've even said that about, just situations in general. Like, instead of letting a bad situation that happened in the past bog you down, why not use the situation that you went through to help others going through the same situation?
Mm-hmm.
To me, that can be a miracle in and of itself if you define it that way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Because what kind of a blessing would you be to be somebody who went through something horrible, to find somebody that's gone through the exact same thing and be like, hey, let's walk down this road together.
Right. So I've heard you say, Brian, that every storm eventually runs out of rain. I've heard you say that many times. I believe we're all just trying to find purpose for the pain. Do you believe that we can always or ever know the purpose for the pain?
I think you can find purpose beyond it. I think you can use a situation and find a way to push yourself forward and push others through. It's like I literally just said, helping somebody who went through that same thing.
So you're saying to find purpose beyond the pain. Why can't you find purpose for the pain? Because there is none?
Sometimes there isn't. Like I said, no one said life would be easy. Not there doesn't have to be a reason or an explanation under every rock. Again, the example of my saying everything happens the way it should be, not everything happens for a reason. There doesn't have to be a reason for the pain that we suffer in this world. That's just life. But finding a purpose beyond it, looking past it, it's almost like you're denying the bad things to have meaning.
Why do you think every bad thing has a purpose or a meaning?
No.
No. Okay.
No. Because I look beyond it. Like I said, you look for a purpose beyond it. Yeah.
So it's what you do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the part of the miracle of becoming you?
Could be. Yeah, it could be.
Mm-hmm. So I've also heard it said, Brian, that your pain is not your destination. Do you want to add anything to that? Yeah, I've heard that quote, your pain is not your destination. Do you want to add anything to that?
No, it's pretty self-explanatory. I would say a person who lives by that creed of like, this pain is where I'm supposed to be in relation to that quote, to me, that's a sign of giving up. If you believe that the pain that you get in life is deserved, you've kind of just given up.
Well, yeah, because there's always going to be something around the corner.
Yeah, always.
Always.
Like, there's always going to be a problem. We live in a world that doesn't guarantee anything. So why should I sit here and just endure it when I can learn from it or use it?
Or do something about it.
Exactly. There's many different avenues here. It all really comes down to choice at that point.
Mm-hmm. So when I say your pain is not your destination, you're kind of saying that if you believe that, you kind of have hope to move on. Am I right, or am I flipping?
No, you're right. If you believe your pain is your destination, then you've given up.
Right.
If you believe that your pain isn't your final destination, then that shows me that you're willing to go past it.
Okay. That's what I...
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Yep, clarify.
Yep. So I also found a part of a quote that said, "Not every season is meant to test you. Some seasons are meant to restore you. Some seasons are meant to remind you what peace feels like after you've fought battles no one else could see. How do you think, Brian, that some seasons... Now, I understand the part where it says not every season is meant to test you. Okay, because seasons can be, or battles or trials or whatever you want to, can all be gauged at different places, right? And what I might go through might not be a battle for you,
Right.
or considered that, and vice versa. So where it says that some seasons are meant to restore you, how do you think that would look like? Like what, you know what I mean? How can a season of trials or a battle that you go through restore you?
It's a very interesting question. I think it really just comes down to how, and I said this earlier, of how self-aware one is. I think I do believe it. I do think that people can use bad situations to help kind of reflect. And the best way I can give an analogy for it is, let's say you're in a firefight, right? Like there's bullets going all over the place and you're trying to gain ground and all that.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of giving up, what do soldiers do? They regroup.
Right.
They reestablish.
Mm-hmm.
They reconnect.
Mm.
That kind of thing is the scenario that I'm thinking of.
Mm-hmm.
It's when the rain's really coming down and life looks bad. Do you choose to give up, or do you choose to fall back and regroup?
Right.
That can be a choice. Doesn't always happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
But in my experience, when bad things happen, again, the analogy I gave with finances,
Mm-hmm.
instead of looking at it as hopeless, let me think of my options. What can I do to make this situation better?
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's a really bad situation, what can I do to make it better?
Right.
It's like that.
Right. So it says that some seasons are meant to remind you what peace feels like after you fought battles no one else could see. And I think for myself, and this is only for me saying, is that I think for the battles that I have fought, Brian, that no one else knew about and no one else could see, I think that is where the biggest restorations came.
Mm. Yeah. I can say the same. It's like,
Do you understand what I'm saying?
when the clouds finally cleared.
Because nobody sees the pain that you go through all the time.
Right.
You know, they look at you and they think, oh, they've got all, you know, their crap together.
Yeah.
When their whole world around them is falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
But I think those are the times when you have fought that battle and you finally can put your sword down. I think that's the place where you find, I have found it anyway, the biggest restoration.
Yeah. Especially when you do everything you can before you get to that point. Like if you genuinely are trying to make it better and then you just find that you can't, and you do what I said and fall back and kind of regroup,
Mm-hmm.
and you get to that place where, you know, you've reached that, maybe the eye of the storm, if you will, where
Yeah.
things are calm, even though everything is still going on
Yeah.
around you. It can help you prepare for the next wave.
Right.
Or even if you manage to get all the way through it, you almost find like, wow, I went through that. Now it's peaceful.
Yeah.
Now I can finally rest.
Right. I think it's the silent battles that really define and make you who you are.
Yeah.
It's not the loud battles that everybody sees you going through. I'm not saying that it can't. I'm just saying I think that it's the silent battles that really that's another word for saying make you who you are. I guess define you.
Find yourself.
Find yourself, right?
Yeah, and it's true.
Because that's where you really find your true strength.
Well, I think going through those battles that no one sees, who else are you spending your time with? You know, you're only with yourself. So you can almost learn something about yourself.
Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, you'll find out if you're going to become stronger or not, right?
Yep. And that really does come down to choice.
It's true. Yeah. So, unless you have anything to add, I am going to read a quote for tonight, and then we'll go on.
Nope, I'm all good.
Okay. So this quote is called, When the storm runs out of rain.
Hmm.
I thought of you, because you always say that. There comes a point when the storm just runs out of rain. The chaos starts to quiet, the pressure begins to ease, and something deep inside you starts to breathe again. You've been through it, not just the external mess, but the internal unraveling too. You've questioned everything, faced what most people spend their lives avoiding, and still, here you are. Maybe you're tired, maybe you're still carrying pieces of what broke. Maybe you're still trying to understand why it all had to happen the way it did. But let this land. Your challenges are not permanent. Your pain is not your destination. Your heart will heal. Your spirit will find its footing again. The worst part of the storm is already behind you, even if your mind hasn't fully realized it yet. Not every season is meant to test you. Some seasons are meant to restore you. Some seasons are meant to remind you what peace feels like after you've fought battles no one else could see. You're not being punished. You are being strengthened. You are being refined. You are being prepared for what comes next. The sun is finding its way back through the clouds now. Let it. Keep showing up. Keep taking the next step. Keep trusting the path beneath your feet, because that's enough. It's more than enough. Do you think, Brian, when you go through the battles and you've come through it, well, I'm talking about the silent battles, do you think it can take years for those things to restore you sometimes?
Oh, yeah, for sure. No one can come out of a battle unscathed. I think it really does take time for some people to go through their pain and really come to terms with what they may have went through, who they started to become because of it, and how to move on past it. And I believe that sometimes those things can take years, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Some people feel that they need to, you know, transform instantly and become
Oh,
someone that they can accept. And sometimes that's not the case. You have to learn to be patient with yourself because you're all you've got in this world. Now, of course, you can have support, but when you lay in bed at night, you go and you go to sleep alone, you know?
mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with somebody being comfortable with who they are, being comfortable with who they're turning into, as long as they don't make the situation all about them, if that makes sense. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't be selfish or um there's a word I was just thinking of to describe it. Um hmm Man, I had that word. I had it. It was on the tip of my tongue. Um I was going to say greedy, but I don't think greedy's the right word. I guess selfish is the only word I can use. Is that when you see somebody who's going through a hard time and they make it all about them, and it really does add perspective to who somebody is turning into, and that's when they can reach out to others for support.
Mm-hmm. So when you,
Whether or not they accept it is a whole nother story, but I think a person who comes out of a situation a better person really shows the core strength of who we are as human beings. You know,
and you're saying that it's okay for that to take a long time.
absolutely. Like I said, nobody comes out of a massive storm ready to tackle the next one. You know, it's all about learning, growing, and adapting, being a better person because of your situation, not letting that situation consume you and turn you into something that you didn't want to be in the first place.
How do you feel about people who judge others for saying after they've been through a battle and it's still taking that time to become or get over, I say that lightly, the situation, and they judge that other person and say, well, you should have been over this by now. It's been years. You should
Well,
move forward.
other than the obvious of saying that person shouldn't be in your life to begin with, um, it's definitely a person who has not gone through as much as you. or somebody that doesn't understand what you're going through.
You
If
think,
anybody can judge you based on that, they shouldn't be in your life at all. And I'm just being honest. Like, even if that person is nice 99% of the time, if they get to the point where they see you going through a bad situation and they tell you to just get over it, why are you around them?
even after it's been years?
Yes, because everybody has different. Some people can get over situations quickly, some people can't. That's where support is offered. And if that judgmental individual had any sense, they would use it to help carry that person through things they can't. It's all about walking through situations together.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, you are by yourself.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to always be that way.
Right. I love that. I'm just thinking about things that have been said to me over the years of trying to deal with some things.
Right.
Mm-hmm. It's rough.
It is. And I would say in your case, you were right to cut some of those people out.
And I did.
And you did the right thing in doing that.
Yeah. So do you have anything else you want to add before I read our quote?
Nope.
Okay. Perfect. So our quote is, believe in yourself, be patient with yourself, and know that your best is always good enough. Know that we can be found on many different platforms like YouTube, Spotify, X, and Apple. Please like, share, subscribe, and turn on any notifications so you don't miss another podcast. Note that we have an email at giveemheck@gmail.com. We also have a Facebook at Give 'em Heck Podcast and our TikTok at Give 'em Heck Official. Oh, yes, and just another reminder, I did announce it at the beginning. We will not be having our podcast next week because of the 4th or the week after because of family visits. Yay. Yeah. So.
All right, everyone. Well, again, thank you.